Old people assume that these newer generations just simply don't like working, when in reality most people I know around these ages would just be just fine with working even overtime if that meant a guaranteed roof over their head and a continuously growing 401k. When in reality most folks don't get promised either one of those things anymore these days, while being forced to work multiple jobs while still not having enough despite what age or generation they're from. And if you personally can relate to anything discussed in this video or simply been enjoying my daily dreamer commentaries over here on the page, then don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions down below, and subscribe to see my daily videos right here on the channel. And a huge shout out to the handful of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
I need 30-something money deal. I bring you 30-something deal. You tell me I ain't got no money. That's it.
This is the distressing moment a Yellow Corp trucker is told the pension he has built up over 30 years won't be topped up by the company, as it nears bankruptcy. Footage shared on TikTok shows the worker angrily shouting after learning his healthcare benefits and pension payments had ceased. The Central States Board of Trustees at Yellow said they would be suspending health benefits and pension accruals for workers as the company struggles to refinance $1.2 billion debts. The Teamsters Union, representing 22,000 truck drivers, are preparing to strike as early as Monday.
Retirement isn't promised anymore. That's right, folks. You can work your entire life, decades and decades and decades, if you're blessed enough to live that long, just to be forced to work for the rest of those last final years if your body's capable of doing so. And if it's not, hopefully you have enough saved up, or you have enough family members who care about you enough to take care of you, and you can live off their dime, their dollar, and their hard work that they did throughout their life. Because a lot of jobs are not really paying you enough to really, get by momentarily, let alone save up for the future. So who's really saving? Are you saving? Do you find yourself saving? Do you find yourself having to divvy into your savings to pay the bills? I was just talking to some family members where people have to spend their savings, so it doesn't really save that much. And the biggest part about savings is the compound interest, which now nobody ever gets to really experience because it's getting spent before that even ever arrives. That never shows up. Compound interest, what is that? These new generations will never know about it. So, do you personally find yourself working multiple jobs, still never having enough on the table? Did you find yourself going through the story, the path, the journey that you were taught by your parents, your grandparents, and the American dream, or whatever place you're from, just to find out you're struggling, you're fucked, and there's never enough to get by? That's the average resentment that many people have towards the system, and, hoorah, but do you find yourself having a fix for this? Because eventually we might have to come up with a solution, at least for ourselves, for the overall grand population, because as society really continue to go on when the average individual is struggling and can't get by, if that's the average individual's fate, what does that say for the average society? So let me know down below in the comments what you think about that sentiment.
I was working at Walmart because it was the only job that hired me in this economy. I'm a 38-year-old millennial that's been working since 2004 when I graduated high school. I've had a lot of jobs over the years, you guys. That was not my first and only job. I've been laid off at Bank of America before. I worked at the airport. I've worked for restaurants like California Pizza Kitchen, PF Chains, TGI Fridays, T-Mobile, DirecTV call center. I've even worked for a law firm, and it's always been the same. Underpaid, overworked, to the point of burnout, living in constant fear that you're gonna get fired. For what? Just to fulfill someone else's dreams, to pay rent for an apartment that I never get to be at, only just enough time to sleep and do it all over again.
Now, these newer generations like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, even millennials, they refuse to work for nothing. They're seeing their older parents, they're seeing their grandparents, they're seeing people around them work and work and work, never having anything to strive for, and they're like, you know what? Is it almost worth just being homeless? Could I just sell all my stuff and just pitch up a tent on the side of the road, or maybe spend all that money, the couple $1,000s you get from selling all your stuff, and buy an RV and travel around and see how long that lasts till the RV shits itself, and then you gotta either find a new one on Facebook Marketplace with all the donations you get from your TikToks, or you can just probably end up on Skid Row like the rest of them. Or maybe you have family that you can jump back into and get yourself back on your feet, but you don't have any option. A lot of people find themselves at these scenarios where they don't have any option at all. They don't have people to ride on. They don't have people to look back to. And when they do make these risky sacrifices to try to get to a better life, and it doesn't really work out or pan out in the way that they initially planned it to, it can really be a slap in the face and genuinely leave them in a tough rut, in a tough situation. So what do you feel like about this? Are you currently experiencing this situation yourself? Are you kind of debating on selling all your stuff and going out into the world and trying to find something new, or are you just too secure and you're not really trying to do all that? This just seems like too much of a fuss, which I do understand that aspect as well. But time is never promised, nothing is promised, and you only live now. This could be your only life, depending on what you believe. But So you really got to enjoy it and take those risks because time continues on.
Does anyone else ever think about, like, what if everyone just quit their job at once on the same day? What would happen? And I already know so many people are going to be like, yeah, but we need money because we got bills to pay. And it's like, do you need money? Or are they keeping us in a state of fear and survival mode? Also, if no one paid their bills, they can't arrest every single person. Like, think about it. If the entire country, that's the Matrix fucking with me right now, didn't pay their bills, what would happen? What would happen? The entire country. Everyone. Like, think about it. And one last thought. All of the corporations own each other. Everyone has a parent company. You just keep going up and up the ladder until you get to one corporation that owns everyone. So who's at the top of that ladder is the real.
Will society collapse if everyone stops working? I think the simple answer is yes, because who's gonna, ship your groceries to your grocery store? Who's gonna keep your cell phone running? I don't know how long these towers last. When we've all seen The Walking Dead, but I don't know how accurate those depictions of a dystopian reality really are. But it's a very interesting perspective when you think about the fact the average person is just saying, fuck it, I don't even want to work anymore. Screw my boss. He never cared about me to begin with, and I'm done working so hard to make someone who's already richer when I'll never have anything to show for myself. Now, that sentiment, as much as it seems like a whiny narrative, it's true. And with people finding themselves in a situation, and I'm sure a lot of you guys find yourselves in the similar situations, being that you guys continue to watch these videos, or if this is your first one, welcome into the crew and the group around here. We are the struggling bunch, and we're trying to get by the best way we can. But either way, what do you guys feel like? Do you guys find yourself, do you still have hope for the future? Do you still have an alignment of what you're going to do in your life? Or is it all just been shattered? The last couple years, last couple decades, the last couple lifetimes, depending on what you believe, just mess you up so much mentally, physically, and spiritually that you're just done for. You don't see anything left. But hopefully it's not the case, and God bless you if it is. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up this video discussing the downfall of society yet again, how everybody's fucked despite what generation you're from, and age is just a number when it comes to financial restraint. So I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts, opinions down below. I always love to read through those and respond to the ones I see fit, as well as a huge shout out to the handful of you guys checking out these videos daily, and an even larger shout out to the handful of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me, my content around here, the channel, all that good shit. So hope you guys have been enjoying. I plan to remain consistent throughout the month of October. I hope you guys have been enjoying the spooky season. I personally have been finding myself going out trying to enjoy the weather before the winter comes, but the sun has been setting much sooner than later, and winter is coming upon us faster than we probably like to believe. And being that I live in the Midwest, once it hits, it's here to stay for a while, and you never know what's going to leave. So trying to enjoy the weather while I can, and hope you guys have been doing the same. So hope you enjoyed. It's kind of for me in this one, so yeah, bye.